Malazan vets and recruits. My name is Hood himself here, also known on Iskar Jarak's Discord as Hood's Bony Prang. I am here to start my own little Malazan YouTube journey here. And I'm going to be today responding to Counselor of Moonspawn's Malazan reader tag and answering those questions for all of you guys. But first things first, I want to get to a couple of quick thank yous, and this is mainly to a lot of these Malazan YouTubers that have been here before me and that have kind of paved the road for all this awesome content to be coming out that we can all share in. So Iskar, Ruthan Bad, Kalor, Niflrog, Raph, Quick Jen, Andy Smith, Animander Mike, Counselor of Moonspawn, all you guys. Thank you guys so much for providing us with so much to digest and so much to talk about and discuss on the Discord servers. So cheers to you guys. All right. Now that that's out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and run on through these questions here. So number one, how did you find out about Malazan? Well, for me, it just kind of happened on my own. Especially when I was younger and in my high school and college days, I was a voracious fantasy reader. And I ran out of books to read in the current series I was going through and was just kind of at a bookstore browsing around. Saw Gardens of the Moon, picked it up as I was wont to do at the time and went to find one of those chairs in the bookstore, and I just kind of sat down and started reading. Yeah, that's pretty much how it all began. That's how this whole thing and this whole journey kind of started for me. Number two, describe your experience reading it for the first time. All right, so reading this for the first time was interesting, to say the least. It was a challenge for me because prior to that, I'd read a lot of Jordan, I had read a lot of Sanderson, I'd read a lot of David Farland, Brent Weeks, stuff like that. And I, to be quite honest, found A, the prose, and B, the pacing and the choice to kind of like throw you into the mix with no explanations whatsoever to be a little bit daunting, but at the same time it was challenging and interesting and kept me coming back. So I was not one of those who was like discouraged by the fact that I had zero clue what the hell was going on most of the time. I just kind of was like, just kind of tried to accept it as it came and just plowed on forward as quickly as I could, because I figured, you know, eventually some of this crazy shit's going to make sense. And it turns out it did. All right, number three. When did you realize that this when did you realize this series was going to be an all-time favorite? Pretty much for me, it was like, oh gosh, right in the middle of book 2, Deadhouse Gates. Deadhouse Gates, I was sold. I mean, I was not one of the people that thought Gardens of the Moon was, you know, not great. I mean, we'll get into my rankings later a little bit, but no, Deadhouse Gates was where it really kind of clicked in for me, and I was like, oh shit, this is real. This is going to be a crazy journey, and I better buckle up for the rest of this. And as soon as that hit, I was hooked. Just like the trials and tribulations in particular of the Chain of Dogs felt so like visceral and real. It made me feel like I was trudging along next to Duiker or Diker or however you pronounce that name. That's another thing. Pronunciations, I'm bad at them. Just deal with it. I also kind of felt like in Deadhouse Gates that I was like witnessing firsthand a historical recounting, which rather than a piece of fiction, which I don't know if that was the intention when Mr. Erickson wrote this, but that's what it felt like initially on my first go through. All right, number 4. What is my favorite aspect of the series? Okay, this is rough. Counselor, this is rough. Having to choose something out of all the myriad of stuff to like about these books, I mean, yikes. But I'm going to say I have more than one. I'd say that, again, the challenging prose big plus for me. I'm kind of looking for that a lot of times in my reading. The forethought that Steven Erikson puts into everything, but one of the biggest ones for me, and it's kind of small for a lot of people, is the nomenclature. The names used for people and places, the soldiers. Like, I love the kind of witty, on the nose, sort of like underhanded hints at these people's personalities. Just delicious. And then also just the sheer audacity and scope of all the whole books. I mean, the magic systems, the elder races, all of the themes, all of the huge impactful events that happen. It's all so good and so well executed. It's really hard for me to pick a favorite, as you can very obviously tell. All right, next question. Number 6. What are your favorite and least favorite installments? And you can choose more than one. All right, so my favorites are probably Reaper's Gale, Deadhouse Gates, or The Crippled God. Those are my top 3 if I would have to choose. My least favorite, again, is probably going to be Gardens of the Moon, just because of the kind of initial hurdle that it proposed. And I don't know. It was a little bit harder to sink my teeth into than some of the others. But that's not saying much, considering I love all of these books. All right, number 7. How many times have I read the series? So, I have gone through the series many times. For the core, the Big 10, I've read them 6 times through, including some audiobook stuff. I'm going on 7. I am actually currently right now on chapter 23 of Gardens of the Moon for go through number 7 on audiobook. All right, number 8. Besides Malazan Book of the Fallen, what other series from the Malazan world have I read? I have read the Carcanus books that are out. I have read all of the Ice novels that are out. And I have read the first 3 books of the Bauchelane, and Corbal Broach books. So Blood Follows, The Healthy Dead, and The Lees of Laughter's End. So those are the ones that I've read from outside of the main 10. I also actually just this morning dug up, I mean, it's not part of the Malazan series, but I dug up a very awesome little kind of hidden Erikson gem that I had forgotten that I had, that I'm definitely going to be going through over the next few days or weeks. And I might actually post a little bit of a blurb on that on here. So maybe check out, and I kind of will keep you guys informed on that one. Okay, next question, because I'm very easily distracted. Here we go. What are your reading interests beyond Malazan? All right, so mostly fantasy for me. I'm a big, huge fantasy novel nerd. Huge nerd. So I've most interested, I'd say, in Robert Jordan, Brandon Sanderson, Brent Weeks, Glenn Cook, Michael Crichton. He's kind of a little bit not quite 100% fantasy, but I love Michael Crichton. Brian McClellan, Frank Herbert, David Harland, Jim Butcher, Sarah Douglas. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on ad nauseum, but I'll go ahead and leave that list right there. Those are probably my major big hitters in terms of like my favorites that I've ever read. Oh, George R.R. Martin, can't leave that off the list. A Song of Ice and Fire is fantastic, regardless of whatever happened at the end of the TV adaptation. We're going to leave that over there. Okay, and question number 10, our final one. What advice would you give to a first-time reader of the Malazan books? And, well, honestly, my biggest recommendation would be to take your time. Take your time and be open-minded. Not all of these books are written in the way that you have been groomed to read based on the fantasy that exists out there now and that is, you know, in the kind of popular mainstream thing. Be patient. Be open-minded. Read like a knight radiant. Journey before destination, my friend. This book is all about the journey, the relationship, or the books, plural. Sorry. It's all about humanity. It's all about us, the of life, trials and tribulations, the struggles that we go through, the things that connect us all and divide us all. It's not these books. This series is not your standard. Well, I don't know. Maybe it is. I think that everyone should read these books at least once. But yeah, my main recommendation would be take your time, be open-minded, have a little patience, and read for the journey. Get in there. Get into all this stuff. And if you don't understand it right off the bat, that's okay. I didn't either. And I don't think Iskar or Ruthann or Cal or Niflrog or Raph or any of these other YouTubers did right away either. Because that wasn't the point. The point is the whole thing. The point is a written symphony. It is a ton of moving parts. It's a whole world. It's nuanced. It's all of these things. But in order to enjoy any of these things, a symphony, a really good meal with a ton of different ingredients and stuff like that, you need to give it all time to cook together and come together into something more than just the parts that make it up. And that's how I feel about these books. That it is so much more than the sum of each book. And the series as a whole is just one of the most amazing and satisfying fantasy novels or epics or stories that I've ever come across. And that's it. I mean, I could honestly probably just sit here and ramble on for the rest of the day, but it's already been pushing on 15 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and shut up, give you the salute, and hopefully see you guys in the Discord. Hood's Bony Prang and Hood himself out. Have a good one, guys.